Zaxby's Sensation Salad is so much more than a plain old salad. It's a salad, which begs the question, at what point does a salad stop being a salad and become a salad? Is it when you add Zaxby's fried chicken to it? Crunchy wontons? Asian slaw? Citrus vinaigrette? Teriyaki glaze? Sweet and spicy sauce? Or is it when you top it all with a handmade perfectly fried egg roll? Without a doubt, the egg roll. The Sensation Salad, only at Zaxby's.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Well, I understand we got Alan Dershowitz on. What are we going to talk about?
Well, Professor Alan Dershowitz, it's great to have you here. First of all, your reaction to these threats coming from Iran against President Trump that are continuing to this day, obviously.
Well, technically, it's a declaration of war by Iran against the United States. Let's remember that the First World War started with an assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand. And when you assassinate or try to assassinate a president or a president-elect, Ferdinand was in the same position that Trump is in. He was to be the emperor, but he wasn't. And that started a war. And the United States legally has completely a legitimate basis for attacking Iran. Remember also, Iran has attacked American citizens, American soldiers, starting in the mid-1980s and continuing until, the last several months. They've done it through their proxies. So I'm hoping that the presidency of Donald Trump will bring regime change in Iran, which will solve the Middle East problem forever. It will create alliances between Israel and the Arab states. Iran would become an ally. They had been an ally of Israel. Most Iranian people are pro-American, not anti-Israel, and against their own regime. And we can help bring democracy to Iran and bring peace to the Middle East. And I think Trump will think positively about that. I think he'll start with sanctions, with very, very strong sanctions that he had, of course, 4 years ago, that could bankrupt Iran and help with regime change. But then if Iran dares to attack Israel again, they haven't done it so far, they said they would. Now, Israel then, even with Biden, has a green light to go and then, without limitations, attack Iran's oil and nuclear facilities. So I think we're beginning to tick down, possibly, to the end of the Iranian regime.
Wow, that would be amazing. Ed Cox.
The Shah was very close to Israel and to the United States, considered an ally until Carter blew it and let the Ayatollahs come in and push them out.
Right. I had dinner the other night with the Shah's son, Pahlavi, and he is very pro-Israel as well. In fact, I had dinner with him with a very prominent pro-Israel person, and he speaks very, very highly of Israel and of people he knows in Iran that are both supportive of the United States and supportive of Israel. So I'm hoping that one of the most important foreign policy improvements that Trump will bring will be in relation to Iran. But I wanted to mention one more thing, because, I was at Harvard 50 years. The idea that a Harvard professor would cancel a class because Trump won the election.
Oh, yes.
Is unbelievable. The same professor would have had champagne in class if Harris had won the election. And if I were a student, I would go to class without the professor. Then I would sue the school for the portion of my tuition that was wasted by the teacher not showing up, make the teacher pay back a portion of his salary. Sure, it's all symbolic, but these professors have to learn. They have no right to interject their politics into the classroom and into their attendance policies. It's outrageous.
Yeah, it is outrageous. Governor Patterson.
Alan, I remember on a Friday afternoon in 1963, I was 9 years old, and the teacher came in and said the president's been shot. And then she came back about 45 minutes later and said the president has died. And we were completely thrown off. But, Saturday and Sunday went by. Monday, we went back to school again. I mean, you just can't react every time something happens.
I was in the Supreme Court as a law clerk, and I had to deliver the message, personally had to deliver the message to the 9 justices who were in conference that Kennedy had been killed. And then they all gathered. And again, the Chief Justice told the justices where to go, how to protect themselves. The law courts remained on, and business as usual. You know, that's America. In America, we persist. We're not snowflakes. We shouldn't be teaching our students that, oh, my God, if something bad happens to you politically, the first thing you do is you cry and you see psychological help. That's not America. And I would have hoped that wouldn't be Harvard. But it is Harvard, and it is Princeton, and it is Georgetown University did it. You would think these schools would try to teach their students strength in the face of adversity, not weakness and crying.
Thank you for leaving out Columbia.
Yeah,
sir.
well, yeah, Columbia and Barnard, let's not forget. You know what's amazing, Professor Dershowitz, and you can obviously understand this. This to me is just, it's appalling because Columbia and Barnard, there are a number of Jewish students that after October 7th, after the horror of what happened to Israel after October 7th, they weren't allowed to have their classes canceled. They were obviously horrified. They're furious that, you know, after the election of Trump, some of the professors are allowing these safe spaces. I mean, first of all, the standards are unbelievable. I mean, what a hypocrisy. I mean, how horrible that you don't do it for after October 7th, but yet after Trump, you give them cookies and milk.
Yeah, and look what happened yesterday in Amsterdam, a pogrom. And where does the pogrom come from? It comes from Columbia University and Harvard students who were saying globalize the Intifada. What does globalize the Intifada mean? It means attack Jewish and Israeli soccer fans who are trying to go to a soccer match in Amsterdam. And that's going to spread. It's going to happen in Paris because the Israeli team is going to play the Paris team next. This is going on all through Europe. The Intifada is being globalized as the result of these radical students who are being encouraged. And, you know, I think only one small part of the reason why Harris lost is because she and her running mate were they were pandering to the radicals, to the students. And, you know, there was a horrible article in yesterday's New York Times by a self-hating Jew named Peter Beinart, who said that the only reason the Democrats lost the election is because they weren't anti-Israel enough. If only Harris had campaigned with Rashida Tlaib instead of with other people, they would have won the election. My God, do you learn nothing? Do you know nothing? I mean, obviously, the reason this election went the way it did is because Americans are centrists, and they reject ideologues on the hard left. And I think they just had it. I think the protesters really helped the Republicans win. American people don't want their universities and their streets to be taken over by anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic rioters. And I think that was one of the most important messages.
Yeah, absolutely. Judge Weinberg.
Alan, I want to talk to you about Jack Smith's request to Judge Chutkan to cancel further proceedings in the January 6th case, which she's entertaining. What do you say about that?
What I think he's going to do, he's going to get his revenge. He's going to drop the criminal prosecution, but he is going to write the most biased report, and he's going to try to do it before Trump gets in office. So the current attorney general will allow that report to be made public, and he's going to try desperately to do in his report what he can't do in the courts. And let's remember, too, that although the lawfare against Trump has ended because obviously he's not going to be prosecuted, and I think the New York case will be reversed, they're still going after the lawyers. Project 65 is now more important than ever before. This is a group of hard left lawyers who want to disbar any lawyer who ever represented Donald Trump. They actually filed a bar charge against me in Massachusetts. I represented President Trump in front of the United States Senate, and I filed an of-counsel brief in Arizona saying that if you're going to use voting machines, the companies have to come clean as to what their voting machines, what their algorithms are for the future. And for that reason, you know, Project 65 is going after me and going after many other decent lawyers. And they said their goal is to discourage lawyers like me from defending President Trump. So lawfare isn't over. It's over in relation to President Trump because he won the election. But it's not over in relation to other people who have supported Trump and supported the Constitution legally.
Oh, thank you, Professor Dershowitz, and let's save America.
Yep. Well, you do a great job doing it, so thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.